Stress is a fact of human life. We all complain about stress and try to cope with it. But the real issue is not stress itself. Instead, it is about reducing its negative effects on our lives and managing stress effectively. To achieve this, we must first understand how stress affects our bodies. Stress is actually an alarm system that tries to help us. When our brain senses a threat, triggers an automatic process known as the fight or flight response or the stress response, which activates the body's defense mechanisms and prepares us to respond quickly. From this perspective, the stress response is a natural way to protect ourselves. It is actually a good and positive thing as long as we can manage it. A certain level of stress is genuinely beneficial, serving as a source of energy for life. Healthy stress contributes to the progress of development of humanity. This healthy and positive level of stress is called eustress. Eu, derived from Greek, means good or beautiful. And here it represents good and healthy stress that motivates us to strive for better and achieve success. But when does stress become dangerous? To understand this, we need to examine the physical changes stress causes in our bodies. We often think of stress as a psychological issue, but research on stress has revealed its physiological effects. Studies attributed to various universities, including Harvard University and Westminster University, have shown that 60–90% of illnesses that lead people to seek medical care are actually stress related. These are conditions that could be often prevented with proper stress management. Among these illnesses are high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, certain allergies, some heart conditions, insomnia, chronic pain, and depression. In other words, managing the stress we are exposed to in our lives can protect us from these illnesses. This means that stress can harm our bodies to the extent of causing these diseases. But how does it do this? Through the sympathetic nervous system, which produces stress hormones. To fully understand this, we need to know how the body works. We often hear that the brain controls the body, but in reality, the body also has the power to control the brain and our thoughts. The organs of the body, such as the intestines, liver, and spleen, also communicate with the brain. This has been the subject of scientific research recently studied intensively by neuroscientists. The nervous system includes the brain, eyes, spinal cord, and the special system that connects the brain and body, including all the connections with the body's organs. Since ancient times, when a threat or stress factor was perceived, the region of the brain that activates the sympathetic nervous system will be stimulated. Back then, humans were regularly vulnerable to animal attacks and other human aggressions. This system, which mobilizes other systems in the brain and body, enabled our ancestors to protect themselves. In essence, when we are stressed, we have a very fast system our bodies call. The neurons in the middle of our body send signals to the adrenal glands located above our kidneys. These glands release adrenaline, also known as epinephrine. Epinephrine acts in two different ways. First, it stimulates our body. Adrenaline increases heart rate to prepare us for action and pumps more blood to our muscles and brain. Both adrenaline and cortisol temporarily raise blood pressure to provide more oxygen and nutrition to vital organs. When stressed, our blood vessels expand and grow, and our heart rate increases. At that moment, vital organs like your legs and muscles are activated, and blood rushes to your legs and muscles, preparing the body to fight or flee. At the same time, epinephrine slows down the functioning of other systems in tissues we do not need at that moment. For example, blood flow to systems like digestion and reproduction, which are considered luxuries during danger, is reduced, hindering their proper functioning. Both adrenaline and cortisol temporarily raise blood pressure to provide more oxygen and nutrition to vital organs. We may start breathing faster to take in more oxygen necessary for energy production. When we are stressed, our lungs tend to collapse and become compressed. Carbon dioxide builds up in the bloodstream and we feel uneasy. The stress response activates certain systems while deactivating others. In other words, the stress response fundamentally activates certain systems while slowing down or reducing the effectiveness of others. We have a general system that manages our response to stressful situations. Although the causes of stress may differ today, this system operates in the same way. What is interesting here is that although our stress sources differ, we still respond in the same way as we did in ancient times. Our brain's stimulus part behaves as it did back then. However, it is important to remember that not all stress factors in our lives are related to physical dangers. For instance, while we may not be under the threat of a wild animal attack, renowned stress researcher and endocrinologist Hans Selye suggests that physiological stressors such as work deadlines, family arguments, someone raising their voice at us, or conflicts in the workplace can trigger the same physiological response as physical threats. Potential stress factors do not always involve major life events. Daily hassles, such as heavy traffic, intolerable coworkers, extreme weather, or arguments with friends or family, small disruptions that are part of our daily life can build on each other and leave us feeling as stressed as major life-changing events. Feeling overwhelmed by stress can harm your health, mood, productivity, relationships, and quality of your life. While short-term stress serves our well-being, when it becomes chronic, means long-lasting and intense, it can weaken the immune system, making us more vulnerable to diseases. Neuroscientist and pharmacologist Dr. Candace Pert discovered that when we experience an emotion, our body releases neuropeptides which carry the neurons responsible for that emotion. If the emotion is negative, the body's chemistry changes negatively, spreading throughout the entire body. This means stress is not just a psychological phenomenon, but also physiological with physical consequences. The chemical increase caused by stress affects cortisol levels, a vital hormone that regulates the entire immune system. The fact that the chemistry of fear and stress weakens the immune system is a scientific reality. Stem cell biologist Bruce Lipton explains that during an organ transplantation, doctors administer stress hormones to suppress the immune system and prevent the rejection of foreign organs. In other words, stress hormones have the potential to inhibit the immune system. Chronic stress causes the muscles in the body to remain in a state of constant tension. When muscles remain tense for long periods, this can trigger other reactions in the body. The condition increases stress-related disorders and illnesses. Because when the body experiences stress, the muscles tighten. Muscle tension is almost a reflex response to stress. It is the body's way of protecting itself from injury and pain. So, how can we protect ourselves from chronic stress? We must let go of any agenda that is incompatible or in conflict with our bodies and minds. To achieve this, it's important to build a deeper relationship with our bodies and be aware of when we lose this harmony as a whole. We may not be able to control the stress factors in our lives, but we must control our response to stress. So let's discuss all these aspects in the next